This may be my very favorite alteration of the original Joel Salatin style chicken tractor. Want to build this chicken tractor? This video has tips and tricks, a few of my mistakes, and hopefully a few good ideas for you. My first mistake you'll probably pick up on was buying too flimsy of a plastic siding material. I really wanted a white plastic to reflect the southern Missouri summer sun. Well, the heavier duty plastic didn't come in white. That thin stuff just really chipped and split way too easy. One of our neighbors knew we were interested in raising Cornish cross chickens. They, along with other friends and family and us, all pooled together for one large order before the end of last year. We're getting a good discount on meat chickens, and they should be here in about 2 weeks. We will be getting 25 chicks, so I need to build a chicken tractor. Because we're only getting enough to raise for our own use, not to sell, my design is going to be a half-size Joe Salatin style chicken tractor. I enjoy these kind of projects. I hope you do as well. It was a deliberate choice to build the lid first, then the top with the handlebars, and finally after that the base. As you build any construction project, mistakes tend to compound. I really wanted the lid and that top to line up and fit together nice and square, so I started with those.
I'm just standing here until you adjust to where you want it.
Okay,
because that's not going to stay there.
Yeah, it's pretty flimsy, but this will probably work.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Okay, just let go. Okay, that's a little bit. Yeah, it's gonna be too much.
You're not gonna. You need something sitting there.
Yeah, I don't have another sawhorse, unfortunately. This is not how I would recommend doing this. Working with what I got. I need to be able to work from both underneath and from above. The 8-foot 2x4s that I split in two worked out just perfectly for me to cut one of the side supports out of the 8-foot length and then cut a 15-degree angle for right there. And I just bring it right down until it's kind of flush with that. My janky sawhorse configuration here would not let me put in this last support here because it's sitting on the plywood. I'll get that one later. This last middle bar will add a little bit of structural support, but mostly it's a scoop bar for the chickens to try and crowd them towards the front of the tractor when I'm moving it, so they don't just kind of stay on the ground and slip behind and maybe get run over in the back. The reason that bar looks a little different, it's a stretcher bar from when I had my picture framing business. I kept a little bit of scrap, and that was a good long piece. Worked for this job. Personalizes the chicken tractor. Running out of daylight today. Looks like we have to finish this on another day. When I decided I had to upgrade to that heavier duty plastic, the width of the material was exactly the same. So the overall size of the chicken tractor was just fine. The wave pattern was slightly different. So some of my vertical supports had to be shifted.
And also to love on arrows. Don't sniff any butts. They've got oily butts because I gave them mineral oil because they weren't digesting the milk powder stuff very well. So
a nice little goat break in the middle of the day.
yep, they've been eating and I weighed them. It was really funny because Kit Kat stayed in the little sling and I fed her in there.
Yeah.
And she was the last goat to be weighed. And then I fed the other two, and she's just still sitting in there, kind of hanging out, looking around. She's so chill. Come on, dogs! Come here! Goody! Okay, now they're being bad.
I've gone back and forth in my own mind about running the hardware cloth underneath where the plastic panels are going to be for the sides. I can always remove the panels later and put that hardware cloth in there if we have an issue. As it is right now, I was able to do this whole project using one 25-foot roll, and this is all the waste that I have. I ran out of washers, so sometime in the future I'm going to have to come back and plug a few little gaps when I get more of them. I'm intentionally not using washers where the siding or the roofing will overlap, because that material needs to be screwed down and the washers would get in my way. The lid, I've noticed, kind of wants to shift a little bit this way off square. So I'm going to screw in a little block right here. So when it closes, it's just nice and flush and square the way it should be. Using metal for the roof was a tough choice. It added a lot of weight, but it should also hold up better in a hailstorm. It's basically done. This is Simple Moon Farm, and it couldn't be a Moonsled design without some really cool solar-powered running lights. Actually, they're motion sensors, so it's an added layer of predator protection. The first big test, let's see how easy it is to move. Actually, let me give you guys a ride along with me. Let's get a chicken eye view. We've got these old feed troughs that kind of hook onto the hardware cloth. Room for a couple more. Probably would need a couple more with a bunch of meat chickens. I'm parking it here with the lid facing the wind. I'm going to lower the lid down, but I want to see how this thing reacts in high winds. If that relatively heavy lid has a chance of being flipped up by the wind. It'd be nice to know that before we put chickens in there. If there is a danger of that, I can put a little latch system so that it locks shut. The new chicken tractor really wasn't sliding quite as easily as I had hoped. The plastic in the back was just rubbing on the grass, creating a lot of friction. So what I think I need is a taller skid to slide along. Pressure treated 2x4s to go all underneath the base of those 2x2s. I decided to build a specific prop stick for the lid. It's pretty important that this thing not slam down on me when I'm doing something with the chickens. And trusting an old stick not to break, that was probably asking for trouble.
I can't lift it because I have a problem with my shoulders where if I lift like this or this, it actually pinches the nerves in my neck to where I can't barely walk afterwards. And Brian's reaction to that was, put some muscle into it, do it anyways, I need to see.
I did want to see how it looked from the back when lifting it and trying to move it. But
And he would prefer to have his needs granted rather than me be able to walk for a week.
no, it's important that Wendy be able to walk and fix dinner and other important things like that. Yeah.
I might.
And take care of baby goats. That's important too.
You people wonder why I'm so sarcastic all the time. This is why.
Okay, goats. I'm moving it again.
Scary.
Can you look and see what it's doing back there?
Why don't you just film it?
You can see kind of a drag mark right here. Anywhere there's a slight rise, it's going to rub along this back edge, making the tractor more difficult to pull. But we don't want predators to get in under there. So that 2x4 really does need to be there. I've given my design some more thought and believe I've come up with a good solution. It's not one of those chick lift contraptions where you can easily pop it up on wheels and then lower it back down again. They're pretty neat, but they are kind of expensive, and for some reason Wendy refuses to get one for me. My alternative idea is a simple one. Mud flaps. I've removed the back 2x4 and will cut strips of a stall mat to hang down and drag slightly behind the chicken tractor. This material is 1/2 inch thick, and it seems the right amount of rigid and flexible to conform to the ground, but not let predators easily into the back of the coop. Incidentally, I got a good discount on this stall mat from Tractor Supply because one of the corners was damaged. That doesn't bother me since I'm just cutting it into strips and we'll need to shorten one of those strips anyways. I only shortened one of these flaps, and yet they line up almost perfectly in the middle here. That's because my vertical supports are not symmetrical. I placed them precisely and only where the overlapping panels needed to be cinched down to the structure. That feels a little better. I'm happy with it now. This may be my very favorite alteration of the original Joel Salatin style chicken tractor. The tractor may still be a little bit heavy for Wendy, especially if you're going uphill. But I don't think it would be if you used plastic instead of metal for the roofing. Thanks for watching. Remember, your dreams are closer than the moon. Thanks for taking this trip around the moon with us.